All right, guys, so this is part 2 of the CE lecture. So we're going to go over a scenario now, okay? So the scenario we're going to go over is you're dispatched to the top floor of the parking garage for a welfare concern. You're requested by police department. So we're thinking probably, PD was requested for a welfare concern, then something is obviously a medical concern, and they're now requesting EMS. So you find the patient sitting on the ground in obvious distress. Okay, so based on this information, what are we thinking? All right, so we're thinking that we obviously have a psych issue, right? And now we're starting to think of, well, maybe there may be a medical complaint, the fact that PD is requesting us. There may be a reason that we're requesting. So I'm thinking that I'm going to go on this scene. Obviously, I'm on the top floor of parking garage, so I'm thinking at that point, maybe they're suicidal, trying to jump off, right? So I'm definitely going to be investigating into that. But again, making sure that we're approaching this with concern. Okay, I think that's probably the biggest thing that I would recommend right now. All right, so the patient is in hysterics. You cannot speak to her without her crying. Okay, so obviously something is causing them to be pretty upset right now. I can't speak to her. Now that's an issue. Now why is that an issue? Because I cannot access my patient to assess her, right? So what's a method that we could use to de-escalate this patient? So think about it. You're on the top of a parking garage. She might have tried to jump off, right? So we definitely want to try and de-escalate the situation so we can figure out what's going on. PD probably requested us for a medical concern. So probably at this point, I'm going to have my partner to kind of talk to PD and figure out, well, why did you request us? Was there anything that she said to you guys that could explain that for us and give us some more information? Okay, so, the next thing, what's a method that we could use to escalate? So we're on the top of a parking garage. There's probably not a lot of places that we could move her to. We're not going to move her down, probably definitely away from the ledge if she's on the ledge, but, kind of maybe I'm sitting on a golf cart, sit in the back of the truck, something like that. Or we could probably put them in the back of the police car, maybe. It really depends and kind of gauge her interest or her response to the moving location. But I think that the best one would be for you to initially establish command and say, listen, hey, I understand what's going on. I need to speak to you. I need to figure out what's going on with you at this point. I need to start your assessment and get her to be kind of distracted by maybe getting a blood pressure, getting a vital signs, assessment, giving her something to think about other than the fact that she's trying to commit suicide. Don't get into the sympathy of it. Don't, be like, oh, why are you feeling like this and everything? Kind of approach it from just a standpoint that I need to do a medical assessment. Can I talk to you about that? And kind of lead her away a little bit from wanting to kind of delve into her feelings at this point. So that might be a way for us to de-escalate. But again, what's the number one rule for that? Always, always, always be reminded on the fact that you can't just keep doing the same issue or the same method. Okay, so we have successfully de-escalated this person. So once they're de-escalated, you ask about suicidal intentions. She admits to wanting to kill herself. And you ask how. She tells you pills and then jumping off the parking garage. All right, well, we obviously know. So the question is, what do you want to know now? Well, let's look at what we do know. We do know she tried to jump off. She hasn't, obviously, so that's a good thing. But this pill business is it's a little bit more concerning because we don't know whether or not she has attempted this. Did she attempt to take pills, and then when that didn't work, she now trying to jump off the building? Or was she trying to jump off the building first, and then if that didn't work, she's going to get pills? We want to know kind of the timeline, whether or not she did take pills, and if she did, well, then how much and what of, and things like that. So we definitely need to investigate this pill business to see whether or not we have a life threat or a potential for a life threat. All right, so she admits to drug use. She takes a bottle of hydrocodone about 10 minutes prior. All right, so hydrocodone, we got to think, what type of drug is that? Well, hydrocodone, I mean, that's going to be a depressant, right? Could potentially an opioid, like that. That's an issue. That's a painkiller. So what are we thinking with a hydrocodone overdose? We're thinking of respiratory depression, okay? Now, she probably doesn't have that at this point. It's only been 10 minutes. However, we don't know how much of what's the bottle, how much was in the bottle. Was the bottle full? Was the bottle empty? We need to know about that, all right? So that's something that you can ask her. But the question here is that how does this change the patient outcome? What are we actually really concerned about at this point that we need to be kind of looking towards, like, why are you doing this? That's a really important thing that we need to be figuring out. So hydrocodone, again, asking about the route of it. I mean, it was a pill, so probably an oral. Figuring out, how much was it? Are we showing any signs of it starting to overdose? That's all really important stuff for us to be figuring out at this stage. So the question, how does this information change the call? Well, now going back to our algorithm, we have a medical complaint now, right? We know that this person potentially has a medical issue that we need to fix. And that's the huge case. We need to now upgrade to Richardson, get her transported to the ER to potentially to treat this. I mean, this could be a potentially really bad scenario that we need to be able to treat. So that is what we're concerned about. And we're going to need to potentially to transport. Okay, so we upgraded to RFD without delay. She was transported, so good job. We recognized there was potential for a life threat here. She was in fact suicidal. So the reason that we did not APOW her is because we had a potentially medical concern that we did need to take care of before we, go ahead and clear them for an APOW. So good job. We did great. And let me know if you guys have any questions. But that's just a really quick scenario that I wanted to run through with you guys.